Hello, everyone. Hello. My name is Clara. I am a sales marketing manager here at Beekast. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about project management with Beekast. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to give everyone just a couple minutes, let everyone join this webinar. I see a couple people arriving. Okay, great. So, just while everyone's arriving, I'm going to make sure that you can hear me, you can see me, that we're not having any connection problems. So, make sure to either write in the chat that you guys can see me, hear me okay. And if you have any problems, make sure to tell me before moving on. Okay, great. I think you guys can hear me. I'm not getting any answers, so I hope it's okay. You can also react by giving a thumbs up or something like that. Um, Perfect. I see some thumbs. Okay, great. Good to know. Okay, so hi everyone. For those of you who are joining us today, let me just present myself very quickly. My name is Clara Planson. I'm the sales marketing manager here at Beecast, and today we're going to see how to manage a project from A to Z with Beecast. So this very collaborative solution that you may or may not know about. So I'm just going to invite you to join the Beecast session today. So as you see, I have shared with you a quick little link in the chat, but there are many ways that you can join a session on Beecast. First of all, you can go to beecast.live and enter the session code 984931. This is also the session code located at the top of the screen that I'm sharing with you today, so you guys can join in on that. And if you have your smartphone with you today, you can also go ahead and scan the QR code that's being displayed at the center of the screen that I'm sharing with you. And finally, I have also shared in the chat a link. So if you click on that link, you will automatically be sent to the BCast session. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys connect. I see that we are 3 on the session right now. I think we'll be a little bit more. 4. Okay, the numbers are climbing. That's good to know. And I think we're good. We can dive right in. So let me just start with a quick little activity. I think it'd be super interesting to know what you guys are hoping to get out of this webinar. So I'm going to launch the activity. And if you're on the BCast session, you can go ahead and participate and just share with me what you hope to see in terms of maybe like um, choices or tips or things that you wish to see when it comes to project management with BCast. So okay, I see a first word, which is indeed tips. So maybe tips when it comes to talking about project management. What are the best practices? What can you guys do? Um, New ideas for how to use it. Yes, completely. So those are things that we are going to talk about. The idea today is really kind of inspiring you through the best practices of project management, how to really talk about agile project management, which is really something that at Bcast we're passionate about, and also just to learn more, maybe learn more about the solution, the platform, Bcast, and yes, just some tips. Okay, great. Thank you for participating in this activity. I'm going to stop the activity and we're going to be able to start off on this quick little slide. So I think this is pretty interesting. What we see today is that poor project management planning can actually waste up to 11.4% of a company's resources. And I find this figure interesting because today we see that more and more people are trying to be more productive. We try to be more efficient on a daily basis. And we tend to hear that saying, do more with less. I don't know if you hear that often, but I feel like it's something that everyone has been trying to do recently. And so project management is really going to play a very important role in this because the more organized we are, the more efficient we are, and the faster we can reach our goals while minimizing the resources used. So, the goal of this webinar is really to show you how you can do all of that with Bcast. And what better way to start than by looking at the very first step of project management, which is the design. Um, design phase. So we call this project design. The design phase of the project is an opportunity for you and your team to align on the ideas, the process, and any expected outcomes. And basically, this step in project management is mostly about giving an overview of the project without going into too much detail. So, the good news here is that when you use Beekast, you have access to a lot of inspiration templates, as we like to call them, which are actually these ready made activities that allow you to share and prioritize your ideas in a very short amount of time. So, for those of you who may not know what a inspiration template is, it's very simple. I have one right here that I can show you. This is an inspiration template that is called the 5 Ws. And as you can see, it's very handy because basically, when you launch this activity with your team, you immediately have these 5 columns: who, what, when, where, and of course, why. And what I really like about this activity is that you're going to be able to really get an overview of the project that is being put in place. So while you're designing your project, this is the moment where you have to start asking yourself, okay, so who is concerned? Who is going to be kind of the main actors of this project? But also, what are we doing? When? So when is an interesting question because you could be answering, when does this project have to start? When does this project have to end? So kind of start thinking about a timeline, right? And then finally, where and why. So you can really kind of start answering these questions together and kind of start thinking together on this. So with the 5 Ws, if I wanted to continue this activity, you would be able to send an idea. And as you can see, it's very simple. By sending an idea, you just have to click on the button um, called Send an Idea. Pretty straightforward. And then you can choose the category. So, for example, let's say that I want to talk about what we're doing. So, I would choose the category what, and then I would just share my idea by saying, well, in this project, what we're trying to do is here I had written launch a new feature, but it could also very well be get our feature known by our community, for example. That's also an interesting way of looking at a project because here we're going to be talking maybe more about a social media strategy, about communication strategies. So it's a little different, but it allows you to really share that idea. And as you can see, that idea just popped up in the what column. And it's just very simple. You and your team can set it up in a matter of seconds with Beecast. And once again, this is an activity that exists in a template form. So for those of you who may not know about session templates on Beecast, let me just share this screen. I think you can all see that. Yes. So here, welcome. We are currently on the Beecast owners session. So this is my session. As an owner, I have access to a lot more parts of Beecast, I guess you could say. I have a general overview. I have some information here on the side. And if I wanted to add a session template or just a template, an activity template, I would go up here in the left column and click on Add a Slide. And as you can see, I have this window that opens. Here I have all my general activities. So for those of you who may not know Beecast, we have word clouds, metaphors, boards. We have whiteboards also, that which is called the canvas. We have surveys, MCQs, basically you name it, we've got it. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on templates right here at the center. And the minute that I click on templates, I have just a whole bunch of these templates. So you have a lot of different things here. You have icebreakers that are just ready to go. You can have brainstorming activities. You have some very strategic templates like the Eisenhower matrix, the SWOT, which is very, very well known in marketing teams, business teams, things like that. And I can just click on it and click on import, and immediately this activity will be brought into my session. And then I can just play it with the rest of my team. So that was just to give you a general overview of what a session template is, and just to tell you how easy it is to set in place in Bcast if you're using session templates or just activity templates. So, moving on, we have this first part of our project. And immediately, once we have the general overview of our project, the next part that we want to start putting in place is well, we want to start planning the actions to be carried out, and we want to start assigning the tasks to the members of our team. Right? So, obviously, this part is going to be very important because automating the follow up and knowing what everyone is working on is just going to allow you to be so much more organized and efficient and just save time on a daily basis. So, here, what I want to talk to you about is our actions and decisions feature. For those of you who may not know this feature, this is a feature that we have in Beekast that allows you to create your actions and add decisions along, like during your meeting, during a training session, during an event. Basically, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to this screen. Make sure to ask questions. By the way, I'm just doing a quick little break and going back on the chat. Make sure to ask anything in the chat. I'll be happy to answer along the way. So just, yeah, I'm also looking at the chat while I do this. So don't hesitate. I'm also here to bring you as much information as possible. So just moving on, yes, this is the actions and decisions. We are back on the owner screen. And as you can see on the right side column, I have different little options. And the one that I'm going to be most interested in is the actions. So, right here, if I want to add an action, if I want to take an action or make a decision, I can do this here. So, let's say that I'm working with my team, we're in a meeting, and someone says, okay, well, I think that we need to start thinking about maybe our next webinar. So, I may name this action webinar to be done next month, let's say. I can add details. So, for example, I can kind of give a little bit more context. Well, maybe we need a webinar on event planning. You never know. And it has to be done in March, let's say, or February, because technically next month will be February. There we go. I can assign the task if I am connected to my Bcast account. Today, we are in an anonymous session mode, which means that you guys are not identified Bcast users. You are using an anonymous avatar. That's why you probably saw something like Smart Unicorn or Clever Owl or things like that. That's the anonymous mode. But if I wanted to use a session where everyone is connected to their Bcast account, I could assign the task to a member of my team, and they will then get an automated notification directly in their Bcast space. And so then I can choose when this action has to be completed. So since it's for February, let's say that by February 15th, it has to be done. I can set a priority saying that it's pretty important or maybe extremely important, and then a status. So right now, I haven't started doing this, so I'll just keep it in a to do status. I just have to confirm the action, and there it is right here popping up. Same goes with a decision. You can make decisions throughout the entire meeting or training session or event, and basically you can just write up these decisions one by one so that everyone knows at the end of the meeting what has been decided, what has been ruled. And at the end of this meeting, let's say you may have maybe up to 15 actions, 12 decisions, anything like that. You can go ahead and click right down here on send the action plan, and you will then receive in your inbox, so on your email address, you'll receive a complete action plan just summarizing all of the actions and decisions that have been made. And so you really have an overview of what your team has to do, who's moving on what has been done, what hasn't been done yet. So it's a very handy feature if you're doing anything concerning project management. And just to show you what the notification looks like, since I am on my account, I have my little notifications right here. I have two things that I need to be looking at apparently. And One of these I prepared in advance. One of the actions that I had to do today was show the actions and decisions feature. It was due for today, it was assigned to me. And I can go ahead and change the status of the action saying that, well, I've just done it. So once I've changed the status, as you can see, the action has disappeared and I no longer have to do it. And my little notification is back in blue because I'm not late on any of my tasks. So this is a really great feature. Once again, if you guys are looking to kind of have this agile project management happening where you can keep track of what everyone is up to, but also keep track of your tasks and what has to be done directly through Beekast. And so when we're talking about actions and decisions, first of all, I'd love to know if you knew about this feature, if this is something you're just learning about today. So make sure to share with me if this is new for you or if this is indeed something that you've already used or something like that. Okay, so I can see that one of you did know this actions and decisions feature, so that's good to know. Um, I'm going to give you a couple more seconds for those of you who want to participate and maybe answer the survey. Okay, so another person did not know, so that's also good to know. I hope that I was able to bring you a little bit more information. If some of you are just joining us, I can see that the number of participants on Livestorm has gone up a little bit since then. In the chat, you have access to the link. If you click on this link, it will send you to the Bcast session that we are currently on. And so from your computer or your smartphone, whichever device you're using, you can go ahead and join the session and answer the current survey or the current little activity that I'm sharing with you right now. Okay, so moving on, we've got the two first steps of project management with Bcast. First step is organizing your thoughts, getting that general overview, designing the project in a really collaborative manner. And then second step is trying to assign tasks and to start kind of working together on who's doing what and keeping track of everything. And while we're talking about keeping track, that this is going to be the second interesting part of well, the third interesting part of our webinar called execution. So this is also a vital step in project management. I'm going to go ahead and switch back right here. Okay, great. So this is another really interesting part of project management because when we're talking about the actions and decisions feature, well, we can imagine that once your project is launched, once everyone has started working together on this project, it's going to be very important to communicate well and follow the progress of the project in a regular manner. So that's where the action and decision feature will also play a valuable role, is really in the execution process, because through automated notifications and through maybe weekly meetings, this is a way for you to keep track of what everyone is working on and to kind of know if some people are a little lost or behind on their tasks, and just to get a general overview of how the project is progressing. So I showed you how you could easily change a status when it comes to an action or decision. This is very important because that's how you can get, just in a glance, kind of a really quick view of what everyone's working on, what has been done, what hasn't been done. But another best practice, a tip that I'd love to share with you, is what is one of our Bcast session templates called the weekly meeting. So I showed you our inspiration templates. We talked about the Bcast templates. These are activities that are ready-made activities. They're already filled out in for specific purposes with very specific goals. So for example, we have the SWOT, we have the Eisenhower matrix, we have special little icebreakers. So you have these inspiration templates, but then you also have session templates. And what session templates are put very simply, just a complete Bcast session already organized for you with different activities and slides already prepared. So the idea here is, instead of creating your Bcast session adding your slides and then thinking, okay, I want to add maybe this activity and I want to add this template, we've already built the session for you. So you don't have to think about what activities to add or to take out or anything like that. You can just say, oh, I'm doing a weekly meeting every Monday. I've decided that this is going to be a ritual for my team and my team and me. And you can just go ahead and go to our session templates and just click on weekly meeting, and your weekly meeting will appear. So let me just show you very quickly how this works, just to make it make sense. It's always nicer if you guys can see exactly how it works. So here I am back on my session, Beekast space. And as you can see, if you want to create a Beekast session for the first time, you're going to click on this big button right here, organize a session. When I click on it, I first have the ability to choose the type of control over the session that I want. So either a facilitator control, which is what I'm doing today with you guys. I have control over the slides. I'm the one that decides on the rhythm of the webinar and what slide we're going to be currently on. But you also have a participant control, where this time you can go ahead and just let your participants go from slide to slide and answer each activity. And here, what I'm going to be interested in is scrolling a little further and looking at this part, the session templates. So as you can see, we have the weekly meeting, we have a one-on-one, we have a 360 HR assessment. If there's anybody from human resources today, this is kind of like the annual meeting that you can have with members of the company. We have a daily meeting if you guys do that. At Beecast, personally in the marketing team, we have the weekly meeting every Monday, and then Tuesday through Friday, we have a daily meeting that lasts about 10-15 minutes, no more. And just in 10 minutes, it allows everyone to kind of know, okay, well, I've done this, I'm working on this today, and I'm behind on this project, or I need help on this. So very quick. And if I click on weekly meeting and I click on import, create, here you go. You automatically have a weekly meeting session with already 4 slides that are good to go. You have your board that is ready to be started. So anyone can kind of send an idea of the mood of the week. You can share a picture, you can share emojis, whatever you prefer. And then we have the follow up. So here I can see the different columns. They're already kind of filled out, so you don't have to choose what you're going to be adding as a column. And members of your team are going to be able to say, okay, so big announcements for the week. We have a new product that's coming out, or we have a new launch, a feature that's being launched. Follow up of the past week. What has been done? What are the main things that we know have been done last week? Maybe is anybody stuck on something that they weren't able to do last week? So that's also the opportunity for you as maybe a manager or a member of the team to kind of share your thoughts, share your ideas, and also help others find solutions if they're encountering a current problem or something like that. You also have the priorities of the week, potential roadblocks. So, this is just a really great session template for you and your team if you want to start making this little weekly ritual with them. And I highly recommend you do it. For us, it really helps us be more productive and also just communicate in a much more agile way. So, back to our Bcast webinar, we talked about execution, and now we can go ahead and talk about the last part of project management. So, here we're talking about the closing. This is the end of the project. We have made it, and it's now going to be crucial for us to go back on everything that has been done and evaluate, sorry, the what has worked the best, but also to kind of study areas of improvement to be even more efficient in our next projects. So at Bcast, something that we like to do at the end of each and every project is a retrospective. So this allows us to let everyone share their feedback, but also to highlight everyone's achievements, thank people for their work. It's a very, human process. And it's important because everyone's worked so hard, and it's nice to kind of say, okay, well, like, these were some highlights of our project. This is what went really well. This person worked extra hard. These people worked together as well. So, kind of take the time to end the project on a good note and let everyone kind of think about what was the best part of the project, maybe what were potential roadblocks for them, what didn't they like, and kind of find together in a collaborative manner, kind of, co-create the best possible outcome for the project, and think about what you need to make the future project even better. So here, as you can see at the bottom of the slide, you have this little code here, and that's because we don't have 50,000 session templates right now. But what we can do is create sessions and then share them with you through an import code. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with an import code, but what I love to do is just create these sessions for you as users, as Beekast clients, whichever, and just that way you can use the code to import an already prepared session. So once again, I'm going to show you how this works. It's very quick. Let me just head back to my sessions and share this screen. Here we go. So as you can see, I'm back on my Bcast session, my space. This is the My Session space. This is what you arrive on whenever you have a Bcast account. And I'm going to click once more on Organize a Session, except this time I'm going to go up here. As you can see, to the right of Organize a Session, I have this little import. So if I click on Import, I need an import code. And the one that I shared with you in my slide is M1WEDJ. Let's see if I remember that in one go. But basically, you can go ahead and write the the code. There we go. I just have to click on import and just wait about 5 seconds, and there we go. As you can see, it's called copy because Bcast knows that this is not the original, that you've just made a copy of a session that already exists. And as you can see, you have everything ready to go. Once again, you have all your slides. So in the session that I created for you guys, I kind of give you a quick overview of what this session can do. You have instructions ready to go so that your team can join the session quickly. As a retrospective, in this session, I think it's always nice to kind of go back on what was the project scope. So kind of go back on the context of the project very quickly. Then how did people feel about this project? So as you can see, this is a survey once more. We then have a board with a daki. I don't know if you guys know this activity, but I love it. And it's basically how to improve your project. It's what you need to drop, what needs to go, what wasn't working during this project, and things that, yeah, just put them away in the bin, just not worth it. So drop. Then you have add. What was missing? What in this project? What were things that maybe felt like you should have been doing but you didn't? Add. Then we have keep, things that went really well. Maybe like, for example, the daily meetings or the weekly meetings, like weekly check-ins. Okay, I love that. It was super helpful. My team and I were so much more productive, and it was really helpful to communicate together every week and know what everyone was doing. Okay, let's keep that. That's a really good practice to keep. And then finally, improve. So these are maybe things that are a pretty good idea, but just aren't really efficient yet. And so that's the moment where you can start thinking about, okay, so I think we could do this better for next time. So once again, I love this is a template that already exists. So I just added it into my session, and you can do the same by just clicking on import with an import code and just adding the code. Once again, if you guys are interested in having this presentation, let me just share this part of my screen. Okay, here we go. If you guys are interested in finding these import codes and having this presentation, if you guys go to the tabs part of the Bcast session, if you're still connected to the Bcast session, you can go to the tabs section and click on download the presentation. And you have this presentation made available so you guys can download it and have access to the presentation that I'm currently sharing with you. And we are now arriving at the end of our webinar. I want to thank you so much for participating and being here. I'm just going to show you one last thing that you can do, which is the report. For those of you who may not know about the report, basically at Beekast, we also have the ability to generate a full report in a document. In a Word document, sorry, and you can just share that with your team. It's going to have, it's going to be able to summarize the actions, decisions. It's going to be able to summarize activities that were played, your participants, who was there, who was participating, things like that. So go ahead and use the report. It's very easy. Maybe some of you already use it pretty regularly. If not, I highly recommend you use the report at the end of a retrospective. In project management, it's always nice to have a written report that summarizes everything that has been done so that everyone can kind of come back to this resource if needed. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining in on this webinar. Thank you for your participation. I hope that you enjoyed it. And I hope that maybe next time we'll be able to talk about icebreakers. If you guys have seen on our website, we have a lot of webinars that are kind of coming up. So the upcoming webinar in February will be all about icebreakers. So make sure to sign up. We'll be able to talk about 4 icebreakers, and specifically icebreakers that you can use during events. All right. Thank you, everyone. This webinar will be made available in replay. If you are interested in trying Beekast, or if you have any questions, make sure to contact us. We're always looking forward to hearing from you and getting your feedback. Thank you so much for joining me today. I see that in the chat that I maybe have a couple questions. Marc-Antoine tells me it's good, thank you. Okay, great, good to know. And to share the Beecast link, which I did during the entire webinar. So I think we're good to go. Okay, thank you everyone for joining, and hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Goodbye, see you next time.